U.S. and North Korea are edging towards war. Following his fire and fury comments, President Trump tweeted the U.S. military is locked and loaded if Kim Jong-un makes the wrong move. U.S. military analysts think the North can arm a missile capable of hitting the U.S. mainland with a small nuclear warhead. The evidence is inconclusive, and the U.S. could destroy an ICBM in transit. A threat to the mainland would be met with overwhelming nuclear and conventional force, knocking the North Korean military out, ignoring that the nuclear fallout would impact the entire region. Let's assume a more realistic scenario, where the U.S. devastates North Korea, but Kim Jong-un fires off a single missile. What are his options? Guam is one. North Korea threatened to fire 4 missiles towards Guam as a warning to the U.S., which has close to 4,000 troops on the small island. Guam is 2,100 miles from Korea, within the range of the North's Musudan and KN-14 missiles. The president was clear. A strike on Guam is a strike on U.S. territory.
I read about we're in Guam by August 15th. Let's see what he does with Guam. He does something in Guam, it will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before, what will happen in North Korea.
More realistically, the North could hit Japan or South Korea. The effect would be devastating. Tokyo has close to 14 million people, Seoul about 10 million. 40,000 U.S. troops are stationed in Japan, roughly 23,000 in Korea. There isn't an outcome where a nuclear strike has a happy ending. But even if North Korea fails to launch a missile, or if the U.S.'s newly deployed THAAD system works successfully and batters a few stray ICBMs out of the sky, North Korea can still wreak havoc on the South. Seoul is within the range of North Korean artillery, which could bombard the city well before American or Korean air forces could strike back. North Korea's military capabilities might be more like a pistol compared to the United States bazooka. But, unfortunately for President Trump in South Korea, Kim Jong-un is also locked and loaded.
초보적인 정의도 레이마저도 다 죄버리고 미국의 꼭두각시가 되어 맹동한 주변 나라들도 조선반도 정세를 모두 다 평양 최고 용도자 김정은 동지의
Today, you're going to see the action.
A Saturday session at the United Nations where the U.S. led the way.
Those in favor of the draft resolution,
winning unanimous support, notably with Russia and China on board, to tighten economic screws on the Kim Jong-un regime.
These sanctions will cut deep, and in doing so will give the North Korean leadership a taste of the deprivation they have chosen to inflict on the North Korean people.
For North Korea's test launches of intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach the U.S., potentially with a nuclear payload. The sanctions ban a range of exports from coal to seafood, valued at $1 billion a year for North Korea, and limits the regime's ability to send laborers abroad.
Time is short, but today we have taken one step in the right direction.
Considered the toughest penalties in a decade for the unpredictable young dictator.
Let us once again call on North Korea to halt and reverse its nuclear and missile development programs.
It was about stopping the talk and starting the action. North Korea needs to take heed that the international community has spoken with one voice. They have the option to stop what they're doing. They have the option of stopping the reckless and the irresponsible behavior. And the international community could not have made a stronger point to tell them that the time to stop is now, and we are prepared to continue on if we have to.
In the wake of the announcement of a $1 billion sanctions program targeting North Korea's coal, lead and iron exports, Beijing is staging almost a dozen military exercises in the Yellow Sea. The Navy drills surely send a signal that the Chinese will be effective in any conflict if war is to break out, Malcolm Davis of the Australian Strategic Policy Institute told the South China Morning Post. However, the message isn't intended for Pyongyang alone, Colin Koh of Singapore's Nanyang Technological University says. States do this because they want to send a signal. It's not just targeted at North Korea, Koh said. China's naval strength is increasing significantly. Last week, the Chinese added yet another monster ship to their fleet, which the Royal United Service Institute's Peter Roberts has described as growing at a pace that seems to be unequaled in any navy across history. The drills will include live fire testing, offensive and defensive mobilization rehearsals, and the integration of efforts by surface vessels, submarines and aircraft. Dozens of types of missiles will also be launched during more than 10 tests, SCMP noted. The People's Liberation Army Navy's Shen Jinlong and other top Chinese military officials will oversee the 4-day battle simulations, state media reported. It's unclear when the exercises will start.
Beijing is reportedly building up its military defenses along its border with the north. One America's Sonny Unatoa has more on the country's military preparations.
In the wake of Pyongyang's ongoing missile tests, China is reportedly boosting its military along its border with North Korea. According to reports from Chinese military and government websites, Beijing has built bunkers to protect against nuclear blasts, established a new border brigade, and a 24-hour surveillance system along the North Korean-Chinese frontier. The move corresponds with warnings of possible military action from the U.S.
As far as North Korea is concerned, we are in very good shape. We're building our military rapidly. A lot of things have happened over the last short period of time.
And National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster has said there seems to be an international consensus, which includes China, that the North Korean threat can't continue.
The president has made clear that he will not accept the United States and its allies and partners in the region being under threat from this hostile regime with nuclear weapons. And so we're working together with our allies and partners and with the Chinese leadership to develop a range of options.
In early July, the U.S. successfully conducted its 14th THAAD anti-missile test, 1 week after North Korea launched an intercontinental ballistic missile. China's government has not specifically spoken out about the country's preparations, but an official from its defense ministry said its forces maintain a normal state of combat readiness and training. Sonny Unatoa, One America News.